They came from the far reaches of the galaxy, civilizations more advanced than anything we could imagine. Their ships darkened the skies, their technology far beyond what we thought possible. To them, Earth was just another target, a primitive planet with primitive people. They saw us as nothing more than an easy conquest, a stepping stone in their endless expansion across the stars. They thought we'd bow to their power and surrender without a fight. But they didn't know us. They didn't understand what it means to be human. They didn't know the strength of our will, the depths of our resilience, or the lengths we would go to protect our home. And so their first mistake wasn't attacking us. It was underestimating us. It started with a single ship. They called themselves the Xylan, a race known across the galaxy for their conquests. They believed themselves to be superior to any species they encountered, and we were no different in their eyes. Their arrival was sudden. One moment, our skies were clear, and the next, their massive warship hung above our cities like a dark omen. They made no effort to communicate, no attempt to understand who we were. Instead, they sent an ultimatum: surrender or face annihilation. In their arrogance, the Xylan saw us as nothing more than a nuisance, an inferior species standing in the way of their grand plans. They believed their technology would crush us, that we would tremble in fear and beg for mercy. But they were wrong. As their ships descended, we didn't cower. We fought back. At first, it seemed hopeless. Their weapons cut through our defenses effortlessly, their energy shields deflecting every attempt we made to stop them. They laughed at our attempts, calling us primitive and weak. But they made a critical mistake. They assumed that victory was guaranteed. They didn't understand that humans, when cornered, become something more dangerous than they could have ever anticipated. What the Xylan didn't realize was that their arrogance blinded them. They didn't see the ingenuity in our quick thinking, our ability to adapt in the face of overwhelming odds. Their error wasn't just attacking us. It was assuming that we wouldn't fight back with everything we had. For the Xylan, this was supposed to be an easy victory. They had crushed countless worlds before, so why would Earth be any different? But when the first blow landed, it wasn't from them, it was from us. At first, the Xylan invasion was brutal. Their weapons tore through our defenses like paper, and our armies struggled to keep up with their advanced technology. But humans, we have something that no machine can replicate. We adapt. In the face of complete destruction, we didn't just stand our ground, we evolved. Our scientists, engineers, and military minds came together like never before. We studied their weapons and their weaknesses, and within days, we learned how to fight back. We didn't need advanced technology to level the playing field. Instead, we used their own arrogance against them. Guerrilla warfare, sabotage, and sheer ingenuity became our greatest strengths. The Xylan expected a straightforward battle, but we turned it into a war of wits. Their shields, once impenetrable, had blind spots. Their communication systems, thought to be flawless, were vulnerable to simple but effective disruptions. We fought dirty, and it worked. The Xylan had never faced an enemy like us. They were used to fighting civilizations that followed the same predictable patterns, relying on technology alone. But humans, we brought chaos. We were unpredictable, and that terrified them. In their arrogance, they had assumed that our resistance would crumble. Instead, we turned every defeat into a lesson and every mistake into an opportunity. The first Xylan ship to fall wasn't taken down by a sophisticated weapon or an advanced military tactic. It was a simple strike, a weakness we exploited with precision. Their shields dropped for just a second, and in that moment, we hit them where it hurt. The explosion lit up the sky, and for the first time, Xylan felt fear. They realized too late that this wasn't going to be an easy conquest. This was a fight for survival, and humans had only just begun. News of the Xylan's defeat spread like wildfire across the galaxy. It wasn't just the loss of one ship. It was the shattering of their pride. Civilizations that had feared the Xylan for centuries were shocked. Earth, a backwater planet with nothing but primitive technology, had struck back. And worse, we had won the first round. The Galactic Coalition, an alliance of powerful alien species, was furious. They had always looked down on humanity, seeing us as insignificant in the grand scheme of the universe. But now, they saw us as a threat. A spark of defiance had ignited on Earth, and if that spark spread, it could challenge the order they had spent eons building. One by one, the other races in the coalition prepared to launch their attacks. First came the Scythian Empire, a species known for its ruthlessness and advanced biological warfare. They believed that while Ictylon had failed, they could succeed where others had not. They unleashed a plague across Earth's major cities, confident that humanity would be too weak to counter it. But again, they underestimated us. Humanity's scientists worked day and night, finding a cure in record time. What was supposed to wipe us out instead became a rallying point. We adapted. We survived. The Scythians were enraged. This was not how it was supposed to go. Next came the Jaltaran Federation, masters of psychological warfare. Their approach was different. They tried to break us from within. They infiltrated our networks, twisted our communications, sowing discord and chaos. But in their arrogance, they didn't understand that humans thrive on chaos. We used their own tricks against them, turning their psychological attacks into a source of unity. Nations that had once been divided now stood together, stronger than ever. Then there was the Anvar Syndicate, a race of warlords who believed brute force would succeed where cunning had failed. They unleashed an armada, determined to burn Earth to the ground. Cities trembled as their ships filled the skies, blocking out the sun. But what they didn't count on was that humans never give up, not until the last breath. We fought them in the air, on the ground, and in the very oceans. Every time they thought they had us, we came back stronger. The Syndicate's forces were relentless, but we had something they lacked: desperation. For them, this was a war of conquest. For us, it was survival. And when you're fighting for your very existence, you'll do whatever it takes. The Galactic Coalition, once confident in their power, began to see the truth. We weren't just resisting, we were winning. Alien generals who once dismissed Earth as a footnote in the galaxy's history now watched in disbelief as their mighty fleets were pushed back by a species they barely considered worth mentioning. They had awoken something they couldn't control. This wasn't just a fight against humans anymore. It was a fight against an idea, the idea that humanity, despite all odds, could not only survive but rise, and the galaxy, once so sure of its dominance, was beginning to realize it might not have been prepared for what was coming. As the galaxy's most powerful forces threw everything they had at us, humanity faced what should have been our darkest hour. Our cities were in ruins, our defenses stretched thin, and our resources dwindling. But the coalition had missed something crucial about us, something they could never have understood. The real strength of humanity wasn't in our weapons or technology. It was in our unity. For the first time in our history, we were united, truly united. Borders, politics, and old rivalries faded into the background. Nations that had once fought over petty differences now stood shoulder to shoulder, all with one goal: survival. This was no longer just a battle for Earth. It was a battle for humanity's right to exist. And in the face of such a threat, we became something more than just a collection of nations. We became one. From the ashes of destruction, new alliances were formed. Scientists from every corner of the globe worked together, sharing knowledge and breaking through technological barriers that had once seemed insurmountable. Engineers, hackers, soldiers, and leaders, people from all walks of life, contributed their skills and ideas to a global defense effort unlike anything the world had ever seen. The coalition expected us to crumble under pressure, but instead, we built something new. We developed technologies faster than ever before, reverse engineering alien tech and adapting it to our needs. Our minds, driven by desperation and the will to survive, crafted weapons and defenses that turned the tide of war. We didn't just defend ourselves, we began to push back. One of the key breakthroughs came when our engineers found a way to disrupt the alien energy shields. What had once been an impenetrable wall now became a weakness we could exploit. With every skirmish, we learned more and adapted faster. Our space forces, once laughably primitive, became a force to be reckoned with. Humanity was evolving in real time, and the coalition wasn't prepared for it. But it wasn't just the technology. It was our spirit. The coalition couldn't understand how we kept fighting, how we kept getting back up after every devastating blow. What they didn't realize was that we weren't fighting for power or conquest. We were fighting for each other. Every victory, no matter how small, was a reminder that we weren't alone in this fight. Every loss strengthened our resolve. As humanity united, we became something the galaxy had never seen before, a force that didn't rely on strength alone, but on the will of billions, each playing their part. From the smallest village to the largest metropolis, people stood together, determined to protect the planet they called home. United, we were unstoppable. The coalition, once confident in their superiority, began to feel the weight of their mistake. They had come to conquer, but now they faced something far more dangerous. A united Earth, ready to defend itself against anything the galaxy could throw at it. The war raged on, and while humanity had held its ground far longer than anyone expected, the coalition wasn't finished. They threw everything they had at us, wave after wave of attacks, more brutal than the last. It seemed like they would never stop, and even with all our progress, our defenses began to buckle under the relentless pressure. Earth was pushed to the brink, and for the first time, fear gripped even the most hardened defenders. It seemed like the end was inevitable. And then, the unthinkable happened. The turning point wasn't some grand military victory or a technological breakthrough. It was the destruction of something far greater, the Galactic Coalition's illusion of control. It happened during the final assault on Earth, when the most powerful Coalition fleet arrived, led by their flagship, a behemoth that dwarfed anything we had ever seen. Its shadow loomed over our planet, its weapons capable of wiping us out in a single strike. The Coalition was sure this would be the final blow, the end of Earth's defiance. But what they didn't realize was that humanity had one last move, a defense grid, a planetary shield system that had been in the works since the beginning of the war. It was designed to be our last line of defense, and it was ready just in time. As the Coalition's flagship prepared to fire, something incredible happened. In an instant, the entire sky lit up as the shield activated, deflecting the blast that was meant to end us. The shock was felt across the galaxy. The Coalition had never seen anything like it. Their most powerful weapon had been rendered useless by the very species they thought would be easy prey. The unthinkable had become a reality. The mighty Coalition had been stopped. In that moment, everything changed. The Coalition leaders, so sure of their victory, hesitated for the first time. They had thought this would be a simple conquest, but now they were facing something far beyond their control. Earth wasn't just defending itself, it was fighting back in ways no one could have predicted. And the Coalition realized too late that they had underestimated humanity for the last time. The destruction of their flagship, brought down by a coordinated human counterattack, sent ripples throughout the galaxy. It wasn't just a military loss, it was a symbol that humanity was no longer just surviving. We were winning. The unthinkable had happened. The Coalition's invincible armada had failed. The galaxy, once sure of Earth's defeat, now watched in disbelief as humanity turned the tide of war. The balance of power had shifted, and humanity was no longer just a target. We had become a force to be reckoned with. The moment the Coalition's flagship fell, the galaxy's view of Earth changed forever. What was once seen as an easy target, a planet of primitive creatures ripe for conquest, had now become the center of a war that threatened the balance of power across the stars. The Coalition, reeling from their losses, scrambled to regroup. But the damage was done, and for the first time they felt fear. They had unleashed something they could not contain. The final assault came swiftly. The Coalition, desperate to regain control, mobilized every remaining fleet they could muster. Thousands of ships, armed with the most devastating weapons in the galaxy, descended upon Earth. They believed that if they overwhelmed us with sheer numbers, if they struck hard enough, they could still turn the tide in their favor. They were wrong. What they hadn't accounted for was how much humanity had changed. We weren't just defending Earth anymore. We were fighting for the future of our species. Our forces, now more unified and advanced than ever, didn't just brace for the attack. We met it head-on. The skies above Earth turned into a battlefield unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Alien ships filled the horizon, blotting out the sun, but Earth's defenses had evolved far beyond what the Coalition could have anticipated. Our newly developed planetary defense grid, combined with alien technology we had reverse-engineered, made every inch of Earth a fortress. The Coalition poured everything they had into their assault, but we were ready. Human ingenuity shone in every battle. Our pilots flew into impossible situations, outmaneuvering ships that had once been considered untouchable. Our ground forces, equipped with weapons designed to exploit every weakness we had learned from the Coalition's previous attacks, fought with a fierceness that shocked the invaders. The Coalition had thought their superior technology would give them the advantage, but they hadn't counted on our ability to learn, to adapt, to strike back with precision and determination. One by one, their ships began to fall. Their invincible fleets, which had conquered countless worlds, were now being torn apart by a species they had once dismissed as insignificant. For every ship they lost, their fear grew. What they had failed to understand was that this wasn't just a fight for territory or power, it was a fight for survival. And humans, when pushed to the brink, become something far more dangerous than any alien empire could imagine. The Coalition's leaders, once so confident in their ability to crush us, now found themselves questioning everything. How had it come to this? How had a species they thought they could easily dominate turned the tables so completely? They began to regret ever targeting Earth in the first place. This war, which was supposed to be a swift and easy conquest, had become their nightmare. In their final act of desperation, the Coalition launched an all-out attack on Earth's major cities, hoping to break our spirit. But it was too late. We had already won. Humanity had proven that it could not only survive but thrive under pressure. As the last Coalition ships were destroyed, the truth became clear. They had underestimated us from the very beginning, and now they were paying the ultimate price. The Coalition's leaders, those who survived, retreated to the far reaches of the galaxy, filled with regret. They had thought they could conquer us, crush us, and bend us to their will. Instead, they had awakened a force they never expected, a united humanity capable of standing against the greatest powers the galaxy had ever seen. In the end, they didn't just regret their defeat, they regretted ever setting their eyes on Earth in the first place. When the dust finally settled, and the last of the Coalition's ships disappeared from Earth's skies, something had shifted in the galaxy. The Coalition, once feared by countless worlds, was now a shadow of its former self, broken by a planet they had underestimated. Earth was no longer seen as weak, no longer viewed as prey. The rest of the galaxy watched in stunned silence, realizing that humanity wasn't just a species struggling to survive. We had become something far more dangerous, something no one had anticipated. We weren't the prey in this conflict. We were the predator. What the alien empires failed to understand from the beginning was that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in our weapons, our technology, or even our numbers. It was in our sheer will to survive, our refusal to be defeated, no matter the odds. From the moment the first alien ship arrived in our skies, we didn't just fight back out of desperation. We fought back because we had something to protect, something worth fighting for. The galaxy, once teeming with civilizations that saw Earth as an easy conquest, now feared the name of humanity. No longer were we the target of invasion. Instead, we had proven ourselves as a force to be reckoned with, a species capable of standing against the most powerful coalition in the galaxy and emerging victorious. The coalition leaders, now scattered and hiding in distant star systems, would tell stories of their defeat. They would speak in hushed tones about the humans, how they misjudged us, how they underestimated our resolve. And in those stories, one truth would remain. They had made a grave mistake by targeting Earth, and they had learned, far too late, that humans were not a species to be trifled with. In the end, it wasn't just about winning a war. It was about showing the galaxy that humanity was not to be underestimated. We had evolved, adapted, and become something far stronger than anyone had imagined. The invaders, who once believed they could crush us, had learned their lesson the hard way. They came to make us their prey, but in the end, they were the ones who ran, full of regret. The galaxy would never be the same, and humanity, once seen as insignificant, had earned its place among the stars, not as prey, but as a force to be feared. They came for us, thinking they would conquer, that we were just another primitive race in their path. They thought they knew the outcome before the battle even began. But in the end, they paid the price for their arrogance. The cost of underestimating humanity was far greater than they could have ever imagined. This war wasn't just about power or territory. It was about survival, about proving what we're capable of when everything is on the line. They believed they could break us, but instead, they awakened something they couldn't control. The galaxy learned a harsh lesson: never underestimate humanity. In the end, their greatest mistake wasn't their attack. It was underestimating the heart, the resilience, and the strength of the human spirit. The cost of that mistake: everything. And the galaxy would never forget it. They thought it would be easy, just another planet to dominate, just another species to crush. But in the end, the galaxy learned the hard way. They misjudged humanity, and it cost them everything. What about you? What do you think happens when the underestimated rise up? Remember this: never count out the will to survive. Thanks for watching, and if you want to see more tales of survival, defiance, and unexpected victories, make sure to subscribe and join us on the next journey.